Hi everyone. Today I want to share with you a revelation where the Lord Jesus Christ took me to see the marine kingdom. The marine kingdom is Satan's underwater kingdom, and it's ruled by a demonic spirit known as the Queen of the Coast, which is actually a demon. So what happened was the Lord took me there twice, two different times. The first time when the Lord took me there, he just took me to the marine kingdom, and then when I arrived there, I just found a meeting. Like there was a meeting going on. There were these demonic spirits that were seated in a circle, and then there was their leader, the Queen of the Coast, who was addressing them. And then they were talking about how they were talking about how they are planning to initiate Christians into their kingdom, that is initiating the Christians to become Satanists. And they were talking about how they were going to initiate the Christians who are weak in prayer, and also the Christians who want to live a double life, whereby they've left an open door for the enemy. And then they were talking about how they were supposed to entice them to join and become Satanists. So when they were talking, then they started talking about a certain lady whom they were saying that she was a Christian, but then they started arguing and talking about the reasons why the lady belongs to their kingdom. And they were like, this lady is ours, she is not a child of God, she's ours. And then they were saying that she's ours because she follows our passion. And then they were talking about how the lady belonged to them because of the way she was dressing, recently following the fashion that actually originated from the marine kingdom. And then also because she was using the wigs and the makeup. And then they were saying that this lady was there. Now the marine kingdom, what the Lord showed me is it's a demonic underwater kingdom that controls fashion. They are in charge of fashion. They are in charge of sexual immorality, seduction, immoral TV programs, all those things. They are under their rule. You know, the way Satan has different principalities in charge of different things. But for the marine kingdom, that's what the Lord told me. They are in charge of all those things. And so that was and then after the Lord showed me that, then one of the demonic spirits in that kingdom started laughing, and they were laughing at this lady whom they were saying she was thinking that she's a Christian, but they were saying she's actually their person. And then one of the demonic spirits there started laughing so hard, hysterically. I saw the demonic spirit laugh until it broke into little pieces that fell to the ground, and then the little pieces came back together like it mended, and then it continued laughing. But when they were laughing so hard, all of a sudden I just heard a very loud voice from heaven. And when I heard this voice, I knew it was the voice of God. And he spoke in a language that I do not know. But when he spoke, I knew exactly what he said. And he just said, "Stop, be silent." And when the Lord said that from heaven, immediately the whole kingdom was quiet. Everybody who was at that meeting was quiet. They quit laughing at this lady, and they quit all that they were discussing. And then the Lord brought me back. So then after that happened, I shared what the Lord had told me. And then a servant of the Lord told me that the Lord isn't done showing you about that kingdom, and he still has more things to show you about the marine kingdom. And then just like 3 weeks after that, I woke up in the night to pray, and then I finished praying around 3 in the morning. When I finished praying around 3 in the morning, I went back to bed. But when I went back to bed, I couldn't sleep, and so I decided to wake up again and pray. So when I woke up again and I went to pray, the Lord then took me, after I was done praying, the Lord took me to the marine kingdom again. this time around he showed me he showed me around, because the first time we just went to this place, to this room where they were having their meeting, but this time around the Lord took me around, and it was like a very fancy palace. They had like everything fancy, the walls, the floors, everything was looking so neat. You couldn't tell this is underwater. You would think maybe this is on earth, because they had real buildings that looked like castles, and everything was just beautiful. They had like ceramic tiles on the floor, and then they had like really beautiful walls. Everything was beautiful. But what the Lord took me there to see was what activities were happening there. The Lord took me to a room where they were designing clothes, actual clothes that people wear. So what I saw in this room when I just entered, I saw a lot of pieces of cloth on the floor. You know, like a tailoring room, and then the tailors are so busy, they keep cutting off pieces of cloth, and then they had filled the entire room. There was so much activity. And then I noticed that there were some people, some demons. Some looked like real demons, and then some looked like human beings. I don't know if those who looked like human beings were actual humans or they were demonic spirits. I don't know, but some looked human, and then some were actual demonic creatures in their real form. And then the demons were drawing the designs of the clothes and how they should be made. And then when they drew them, they would take to these other demonic spirits, and they would sew them up, and they would be cutting them and sewing them. And then they had these the mannequins, the ones where they put the clothes on. And then there was the demonic spirit, the queen of the coast. She was sitting on a throne in the same tailoring room. And then what they were doing is, when they are done sewing a particular cloth, they would put it on the mannequin, and then she would have to inspect it. And if she's satisfied, then they could pack it, and then that would be it. But then if she wasn't satisfied, they had to adjust it. I saw these other demonic spirits that were like, they were just like hands, just cutting from here, just hands, no arms, no body, nothing, just hands. And they looked great, and they had scissors in their hands. And then when the queen of the coast would tell them, no, I want this skirt to be shorter, and then these hands would get the scissors and they would cut and make it shorter to the level where she wants. And she would tell other ones, I want this to be tighter, or I want this to be see-through. That's what they were doing. They were making clothes that were indecent, that were supposed to be seductive, provocative, because they are actually working for the kingdom of Satan. And then she was instructing them. So she was just seated on her throne, and she would say, okay, this is fine. Then they would pack them. But they were designing all sorts of clothes. And then when they were done, they would package them, you know, like brand new clothes in a plastic. And then the Lord showed me the ones that were packing the clothes were human. They looked human to me. I don't know if they were actual humans or demons, but they were humans. They were not like demonic spirits or anything, but they were the ones who were packing the clothes. And then they had heaps and heaps in the room of finished products, and then they packed them up. And then the Lord told me, when they're done, they send them to the earth. And it's a continuous process. And what the Lord told me is that this is what happens. The marine kingdom, Satan's kingdom, they design clothes that are meant to work for them, in order so that when a lady wears them, or when a person wears them, they're supposed to achieve a certain demonic mission, like bringing spirits of lust. And then what the Lord told me is that they don't only design indecent clothes in the marine kingdom. The Lord told me that they even make decent clothes, because they know that there are Christians who would not wear those other clothes that they're making, but then they want to have access to them. And the Lord told me that they make decent dresses, decent skirts, they make trousers, they make shirts, they make clothes for children, for women, for men, they make everything. But they also make the indecent clothes. And what the Lord told me is when they before sending them to the earth, they possess them with demonic spirits, like spirits of immorality, or they would put like spirits of masturbation, or they would put spirits of pornography, and or they would put spirits of lust, whatever they want. That's what the Lord told me. And when a person wears those clothes, those demonic spirits are going to start working on that person in order to make that person to act in the way that they want. But what the Lord told me is that those clothes, they will have power over Christians who do not have like a real prayer life, people who are lukewarm, people who are just called Christians but they're still living a double life. They're going to have power over them. But he told me that he wants us to be praying for everything that we buy. Whenever we buy things, he wants us to pray for them. That's what the Lord told me. But what he told me is that we can only pray for the things that are decent and pleasing to him, and they're going to be sanctified. They will not have power over us. But he told me that for the things that are abominable to him, you cannot pray for them, because even if you pray for them, they're not going to be purified. For example, if you buy a mini skirt or a mini dress or something transparent or something indecent in any way, and you pray for it, the Lord is not going to purify it, because he does not want you to wear that in the first place. So you're going to be achieving what the kingdom of darkness wanted you to achieve by wearing those clothes, which is making people to lust and taking people away from Jesus. But what the Lord showed me is that not only do they make clothes in the demonic kingdom, the Lord showed me that they make food in the demonic kingdom. They produce food, they produce plates, cups, cutlery, anything you can imagine, furniture. Yeah, that's what the Lord told me. They make all those things. But what the Lord said is, pray for them, they are going to be purified. And then the Lord said, why I'm showing you this is so that my children can know that Satan is not playing. He's really put his bait in all places, and if you don't watch and pray, you're going to fall. Because all these things, what they're supposed to do is, because of the demonic spirits that are in them, they're supposed to make us less sensitive to sin. They're going to make us start seeing sin as normal, something which we wouldn't do in the past. We're going to see it as normal. That's what the Lord said. And then they're supposed to control people. And then the Lord also showed me this other vision of clothes that were at a boutique. I saw clothes in a boutique here on earth, that is. And then they were put on the mannequins. And then the Lord showed me that the lady who owned the boutique was an agent of darkness, and the marine kingdom had sent her in order to capture Christians. So what she did, when she put the clothes on the mannequins, and then she got something like a wooden stick, and then she started hitting the parts, like the here, like at the elbow part. She was hitting them, and then on the knees. And then the Lord told me that she's doing a demonic ritual to make people to feel lazy to pray. When they wear these clothes, they will not feel like praying, because she was hitting the elbows, representing lifting up your hands in prayer, your arms in prayer. And then she was hitting the knees, representing you kneeling down to pray. And then the Lord told me that those things, they will not have power over the people who are walking in truth and in spirit, people who have an active prayer life. But he said you need to pray for everything. He said pray for everything you buy, even water, because Satan, he has put a lot of demonic spirits in everything. Because what the Lord showed me is that not everything is manufactured in the demonic kingdom. The majority, he said, the majority of the things are manufactured there. But he said that there are some things that are manufactured here on earth by people who are not even agents. And then, but the devil still wants to capture a lot of people, so he sends agents to go and put demonic spirits on those things, even without the manufacturers being agents. And what he showed me, I saw a supermarket, and then there were there were a lot of things in that supermarket, and then a lady walked into the supermarket, and she kept touching everything there. She kept touching them, and the Lord told me, have you seen what she's doing? Satan has sent her to come and pollute everything in this supermarket, to put the demonic spirits, so that those things that were not manufactured in the devil's kingdom can also be possessed by these demonic spirits. And the Lord said he wants as many souls as possible, and he knows the only way that he's going to do this is if he can have access to people, and he's having access to those people who are not watching and praying. That's why Jesus said, I want my children to be awake. I want you to watch and pray. I bought a pair of shoes, and when I bought that pair of shoes, I brought them home, and then in the night, God just showed me a vision of my shoes, and on top of each shoe there was an eye. And then the Lord said they had put those eyes in order to monitor me. And he said that that's what the kingdom of darkness does. They put monitoring eyes on things, and they put all these other spirits that I mentioned on things, but they just want access to people. They want to see what are you doing, because when they can monitor you, when they can see what you're doing, then they can be able to know how exactly to attack you. They can see your strengths, your weaknesses, and they can know exactly how to attack. But the Lord said, watch and pray. He said, those things that are not sinful, you can pray for them, they're going to be purified. But the things that are sinful, you cannot. And he said, and then the Lord said that we need to be watchful, we need to watch and pray. This is in order to wake you up, because a lot of people have fallen prey to the schemes of darkness. They don't even know what's happening to them. They just all of a sudden find it so hard to pray, because it all starts with that moment when you become prayerless, and then you open doors for the devil, and then now these demonic spirits that they are sending, they start having access to your life, and they weaken you even more. So the Lord said he is showing us all these things because he wants us to be awake. We're in a war. This is a battle. It's not a game. So the Lord wants us to treat it as seriously as this. Satan wants to put people to sleep. He's using so many things, but the Lord says, don't fall asleep. Be separate from the world. Don't fall asleep. Watch and pray. God said he wants us to be fasting. That's what the Lord said. He says he wants us to be praying even in the middle of the night. He wants us to pray, because this is a battle. He said this is not the time of your rest. The time of your rest will come. Now it's time to fight. Even in the Bible, when God was giving the Israelites instructions about war, he was telling them about how they were going to get the plunder of their enemies. But the Lord didn't say you get the plunder before you fight. You have to go to war. When you win, then you can relax and you get the plunder. But right now, if you relax, you're going to be killed. This is real. This is serious. The devil is not playing, and he is controlling a lot of things, but he doesn't want you to know he is the one. Because if you stay in ignorance, you won't know how serious this is. So he wants you to think that he doesn't exist. He wants you to think that, oh, he's not the one doing all these things. It's all by chance, but everything is carefully planned. And the Lord is revealing all these things. He says, watch and pray. Pray without ceasing. Seek the Lord while he can be found. Call unto him while he is near. And pray for everything. You need to stay awake.